Agri-Neo, first, before talking about this technology, I'll talk a bit about our company. That's our mission statement right there. It's really bold. It's a big one. We're trying to help safely feed the world. In order to do that, we do it in a very focused way. We use biotechnologies to control diseases in the agri-food chain. So strictly speaking, we focus on two segments. Number one is there's some farmers in the room. Some of your crops, you have bacteria and fungal problems. You're probably using pesticides, and the majority of them are probably conventional ones, which probably face some resistance issues, and they're usually not so good for the environment, as well as there may be some consumer implications as well. So we invent biopesticides that are aimed at least complementing, if not replacing, these products. And again, strictly focused on controlling diseases. So these are harmful bacteria and fungus, which could obviously reduce your yields. The second segment, which is the technology that I'm going to talk to you all about, is after the food's harvested, which is obviously also really important because there's an added concern there. So not only can these diseases spoil your product after your food's been harvested, it can also create food safety issues, which obviously consumers, we're all consumers in here, we're hurt, retailers are hurt, the actual food processors are hurt, the growers are hurt. The entire food chain, therefore, is really implicated in making sure food safety is as strong as possible. So I'm going to talk about a very specific segment that we launched for in terms of this technology. So when you walk through your grocery store, about 70% of your food has undergone something called an intervention or a kill step. You're all probably really familiar. If you're having any sort of dairy products in Canada and Europe and the US, it's undergone something called pasteurization. It's using heat to kill harmful bacteria and fungus. Fruits and vegetables undergo a number of generic chemical washes like chlorine or hydrogen peroxide. Animal protein, there's a number of different intervention steps there. And then, of course, there's your ready-to-eat products, which are cooked. And if hopefully they're cooked thoroughly, that's your kind of intervention or kill step. There's about 30% of foods, though, where there isn't a standard. That means that things have been tried, but there isn't an industry-wide standard where everyone is consistently doing the same thing. And that's where our technology comes in. This 30% are what are called low moisture foods. So things like seeds. So I think some of the products that we're eating today, things like flax, chia, hemp, which is obviously a big industry and growing, that's very much Canadian-based. Nuts, spices, anything that's sprouted. Andrew's company, Amazing Grains, sprouted seeds and grains are being dried fruit. You don't really think of that because you might eat some of this in bulk, but usually they're used in ingredients. The problem is these foods are very tricky. They're low moisture. Why it's low and not zero moisture is a lot of the times they have oil. The oil content gives it the nutrition and all the sensory aspects that you like, but they don't work really well in combination with the existing intervention and kill steps. So things like heat don't jive really well with these low moisture foods. Similarly, harsh chemicals that are used like hydrogen peroxide, chlorine, they don't work really well. So the result is this. Oh, my slide clicked away. Just a lot of recalls. You see it all the time. You probably hear more about recalls on things like spinach and chicken. They are bigger magnitude because the volume of consumption we eat is higher, but the incidence, so how often it happens, is actually the highest for these low moisture foods, and it can be implicated across a number of foods. And obviously these foods are used in granola bars, cereals, trail mixes, as well as consumed alone. So Nutiva is a big company that we've been working with. Prior to integrating our kill step, they've had a lot of issues with a lot of their treats, hemp and chia treats. These are treats that a lot of kids eat and bring to school, but they were recalled because of salmonella, which is obviously a concern because they can make people quite sick, if not worse. Here's another recall. I guess my slides are getting cut, but that's okay. Health Matters, that's another big one. They're a Canadian company, one of our first customers up in Vaughan in Ontario. Obviously, all the big brands, the big grocer brands, they also have their own private label products that implicate and use these low moisture food products. So Whole Foods, they've had a lot of macadamia nut concerns. Actually, there's been a string of recalls earlier this year because of macadamia nuts and Trader Joe's, just as a couple of examples. So what is our solution? How do we overcome this? Why can we become the standard where these existing products don't work really well. Well, we have invented and commercialized a product called NeoPure. It's the first organic, biodegradable intervention or kill step, if you will. It's designed specifically for low moisture foods. It's non-invasive, it doesn't use heat. It uses the principle of oxidization, which is just a fancy technical term for oxygen. We use oxygen, we're able to encapsulate it in a solution, and we apply that onto these seeds and nuts. That's the way we kill the bacteria and fungus. So again, designed specifically for dry foods, and it's also, it kills bacteria and fungus. It doesn't pair. So E. coli, salmonella, mold, yeast, pathogens that can make you sick, as well as just non-pathogenic microbes that could create spoilage issues. It completely biodegrades. You apply NeoPure in our proprietary system as a liquid. It kills the microbes, then it's gone. There's nothing left whatsoever that could change the taste or the smell or the appearance or would have any sort of restrictions. As an example, if anyone's worked with spices, you know that a very common technique is the use of something called ethylene oxide or ETO. The problem is it's toxic because it leaves residues, and what you're seeing is a lot of countries starting to ban it. Europe, Japan, Thailand, the US is starting to phase it out, so is Canada. Our product, there's nothing left over. It completely biodegrades, so you don't have those export restrictions or changing of the food restrictions. It's government approved. We're actually the first intervention or kill step approved by Health Canada for these low moisture foods, and we actually recently just approved in the US by the EPA. And it's as safe as it can get. It has all the different certifications. Although you're not eating NeoPure, anything used in your process, as you know, if you process food, needs to kind of meet the same thresholds that go on your labeling for your package. NeoPure is certified organic, kosher, halal, and it's also compliant with non-GMO. All of the constituent ingredients in NeoPure occur in nature. Nothing is man-made or synthesized. So we think it delivers a lot of value because obviously on the downside risks, if you're working with these ingredients, you're protecting yourself with food safety risks, especially if you're following kind of the regulatory environment. In Canada, we have something called the Safe Food for Canadians Act. That's actually playing catch up a bit with the US, which is the Food Safety Modernization Act, or FSMA. So if you follow, they're going kind of beyond civil penalties. They're now putting people in jail if you're not following food safety guidelines and using an intervention or kill step. Case in point, one of the biggest peanut manufacturers in the world, called Peanut Corp, two brothers sold peanut products that had salmonella. They're in jail right now. So it's a big, big deal if you're not managing your food safety risks. But on the flip side, you're also, if you're able to integrate something like NeoPure in your process, not only do you do that, you can enhance product quality. We've noticed that cleaner product, less microbes means that you tend to have longer shelf life, and you also tend to have product that has better sensory and nutritional profile as well. So that's it. Hopefully I was within my time.